There's someone in your life right now, and you both feel it, but no one is saying anything. You act normal, they act distant, yet the silence between you feels louder than words, and deep down, you're both asking the same question. If this isn't real, then why does it feel impossible to ignore? There's a kind of connection that doesn't arrive with clarity. It doesn't introduce itself, and it doesn't ask for your permission. It slips into your life quietly, almost invisibly, and before you even realize it, it starts changing the way you think, the way you feel, and the way you see one person differently from everyone else. You tell yourself it's nothing. You convince your mind to stay logical, to stay grounded. But your heart doesn't listen to logic, and neither does theirs. So both of you begin this silent agreement to ignore it, to avoid it, to pretend like nothing is happening. But the more you ignore it, the stronger it becomes. Because some emotions aren't meant to be controlled. They're meant to be felt. 1. The silence between you feels loud. When you're around them, silence doesn't feel peaceful. It feels intense. You may not be talking, but your awareness of them is overwhelming. You notice every small movement, every glance, every shift in their energy. It's like your mind refuses to relax in their presence. And even though nothing is being said, it feels like something important is being avoided. This kind of silence isn't empty. It's filled with unspoken thoughts, emotions, and questions that neither of you is ready to express. You both feel it, but you choose not to acknowledge it. And that's what makes it so heavy. Because silence between strangers is easy, but silence between two people who feel something is complicated. It carries weight. It creates tension. And over time, it becomes impossible to ignore. The more you try to act normal, the more unnatural it feels because deep down, you both know this silence is hiding something real. 2. You avoid each other, but keep coming back. You tell yourself you need distance. You decide to step back, to reduce interaction, to keep things simple and controlled. Maybe you stop texting first or avoid situations where you might spend time together. It feels like the logical thing to do. But somehow, despite all your efforts, you keep ending up in each other's space again. Conversations happen unexpectedly. You run into each other without planning it. Moments repeat in ways that feel almost intentional, even when they're not. At first, you think it's coincidence, but when it keeps happening, it starts to feel different. It feels like something is pulling you back together. Because when there's an unspoken connection between two people, distance doesn't truly separate them. It only delays the interaction. No matter how much you try to move away, something keeps bringing you back. And that's when you start questioning, is this really something you can avoid? 3. You notice everything about them. When someone doesn't matter, you don't pay attention to details. But with them, everything becomes noticeable. The way they speak when they're tired, the subtle change in their mood, the way their energy shifts even when they say they're fine. You start picking up on things you normally wouldn't care about. And the strange part is, they do the same with you. They notice when you're not okay, even if you don't say a word. They sense your emotions without needing an explanation. This level of awareness isn't casual. It's emotional attunement. It means you're both subconsciously connected in a way that goes beyond surface interaction. And that's what makes it confusing. Because if nothing is happening, why do you understand each other so deeply? Why do you notice things that others don't? The answer's simple. Because something is happening, even if you're both trying to ignore it. 4. Your conversations feel different. On the surface, your conversations might seem completely normal. You talk about everyday things, joke around, discuss random topics. But underneath it all, there's a depth that doesn't make sense. There's meaning in the pauses, in the way you look at each other, in the way your attention stays fully present. Even simple conversations feel intense, like there's something more behind them. You might catch yourself wondering why it feels this way when nothing significant is being said. That's because emotions don't always show themselves in obvious ways. When they're being ignored, they hide inside normal interactions. They show up in tone, in timing, in the way both of you linger a little longer than necessary. And even though you don't talk about it, you can feel it. That subtle difference, that quiet intensity, is something neither of you can fully explain, but both of you can clearly feel. 5. You both pull away at the same time. Every time things start to feel closer, something shifts. You both become distant almost simultaneously. It's not discussed, it's not planned, but it happens anyway. One day, everything feels natural, connected, easy, and the next, there's space, silence, and hesitation. This doesn't happen randomly. It happens because both of you feel the same intensity, and it scares you. There's fear of what this could become, fear of losing control, fear of facing emotions that might complicate your life. So instead of leaning in, you both step back. And the strange part is, you do it together, as if you're reacting to the same invisible signal. This is what makes it so confusing, because if only one person pulled away, it would make sense. But when both of you do it at the same time, it shows that you're feeling the same thing and trying to protect yourselves from it. 6. They stay on your mind. Constantly. You try to focus on your life, your work, your routine, but your thoughts keep drifting back to them. It happens without effort. A memory appears randomly. A small moment replays in your mind. Something they said echoes in your thoughts long after the conversation is over. You don't understand why it keeps happening, especially when you're trying to move on or ignore it. But it doesn't stop. That's because this isn't just thinking. It's emotional attachment forming. Your mind is holding on to something your heart has already recognized. And no matter how much you try to distract yourself, the connection keeps showing up in your thoughts. It's subtle but consistent. And over time, it becomes clear that this isn't something you can easily push away. Because when someone stays in your mind without effort, it means they've already found a place in your emotions. 7. There's an unspoken understanding. You don't always need to explain yourself to them. Somehow they just understand. Even when your words are incomplete, they seem to know what you mean, and you feel the same way about them. There's a natural flow of understanding that doesn't require effort or explanation. It feels easy, almost automatic. This kind of connection goes beyond normal communication. It's a deeper level of emotional alignment, where two people begin to sync without trying, and that's what makes it powerful. Because it doesn't rely on constant talking or explanation. It exists quietly in the way you both feel and respond to each other. And even though you might not acknowledge it openly, you both recognize it on some level. That sense of being understood without having to say much is something rare, and it's not something that happens without a deeper emotional connection. 8. You feel jealous, but hide it. You tell yourself you don't have the right to feel anything. There's no label, no commitment, no clear definition of what this is. So when you feel a hint of jealousy, you try to ignore it, but it's there. When you see them giving attention to someone else, something inside you reacts. It's not obvious and you don't show it, but you feel it. A slight discomfort, a quiet tension that you can't fully explain. And if you observe closely, you'll notice the same reaction in them. Their energy shifts, their behavior changes slightly, even if they don't say anything. This kind of jealousy doesn't come from nothing. It comes from emotional investment. It means you care more than you're willing to admit. And the fact that both of you feel it, but choose to hide it, only makes the connection more intense, because it remains unspoken but deeply felt. 9. Small moments stay with you. Out of everything that happens in your day, why do the smallest moments with them stay in your mind? A random glance, a short conversation, a simple interaction that shouldn't matter, but it does. It lingers in your thoughts long after it's over. You replay it, analyze it, feel it again. This isn't logical behavior, it's emotional imprinting. It means your mind is attaching meaning to moments because your heart is already involved. And the more you try to ignore it, the more these small moments stand out. They become significant in ways you can't explain. It's not about what happened, it's about how it made you feel. And when even the smallest interaction carries emotional weight, it's a clear sign that something deeper is forming between you, whether you choose to accept it or not. 10. Acting normal feels forced. You both try to behave like nothing is different. You talk casually, joke around, keep things light and simple, but it doesn't feel natural anymore. There's something beneath the surface that you're both avoiding, and no matter how hard you try to act normal, it feels forced. There's tension in the way you interact, in the way you hold back certain words, in the way you avoid certain topics. It's like you're both aware of something, but choosing not to address it, and that awareness makes everything feel slightly off. Because when something real is growing between two people, pretending it's not there becomes exhausting. You can maintain the act for a while, but eventually the truth starts to show. In small ways, in subtle moments, in the energy between you. 11. You feel them. Even when they're not there, even when you're not around them, you feel connected. You're not talking, not interacting, not even thinking about them intentionally, but they still show up in your thoughts. You feel their presence in a way that doesn't make sense. You feel their absence even more. And that's when it becomes real. Because true emotional connections don't depend on constant communication. They exist quietly, in the background, always present. You can try to ignore it, distract yourself, focus on other things, but it doesn't fully go away. And that's what makes it so powerful. Because it shows that this connection isn't based on convenience or circumstance. It's something deeper, something that stays with you, whether you want it to or not. And the truth is, this won't stay like this forever. Either you both keep ignoring it until it slowly fades into a what if, or one day one of you will break the silence. Because feelings like this don't stay hidden forever. They either disappear or they change everything.